What's good out there, Liquid Trucking, and welcome into episode 110 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I am your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for being here with us today. It feels really good to say episode 110. I know we made a big deal about 100, but I feel like now every time we clip over 10 more episodes, 110, 120, 130, I'm going to get that more excited because I know that we're going to be celebrating 200 here in just a couple of short years, man. It's a really exciting thing. All you guys are the reason that it is as exciting as it is. And so a special tip of the cap to all of you drivers, Liquid employees, families of drivers, everybody that's come on this show. You make it what it is. I tell everybody when they ask me about this podcast, they say, so what, are you kind of the star of the podcast? People love to use that word, the star. Absolutely not. I am Steve Nash. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Maybe you're joining us for the first time today and you're going, why does this guy open every show just flapping his gums? Well, there's a little bit of setup that has to happen. Honestly, that's the true part about podcasting. Most people would like to start an episode and find out what it's about shortly after the host starts talking. So that's why I flap my gums at the beginning. That's why I chinwag at the beginning. But after that, my job is to distribute the ball to the people that score the points. And that's everybody that joins me on this podcast. And today, I get to pass the ball to an honorary co-host of mine, Jason Eisenman, VP of HR and Safety at Liquid Trucking. We spent a lot of time here, the Christmas episode, the New Year's episode, talking about the year that was, 2025. We talked about, how you're going to spend your holidays, what's going on, and then we also talked about what happened in 2025. Was it a good year? Was it a bad year? Did you complete your New Year's resolution that you made? Are you making progress? Do you feel like you're stuck? We got a lot of drivers on here to talk about what 2025 was, and it kind of got me to thinking a little bit. A while back, we had a driver request an episode get made that was kind of talking more about the future and company goals for the future and company health in the future. What's the outlook for 2026? And what a perfect time today is to have that episode. We'll get that driver some Drive for Gold points for sure. But really, I want to bring Jason in, and you guys have to understand, a lot of times these episodes kind of come together towards the last minute. Hey, we need to talk about this. Here's a few setup. Here's a few talking points. Let's get it together. This one was something that was like weeks in the making. We wanted to make sure that if we were going to take the time to talk about this stuff, that we give you some real meat to chew on. And my conversation with Jason, which is happening just around the corner here, I think is full of real meat to chew on. So exciting stuff here in this episode. We are talking about company goals for the future, what 2026 holds. And at the end of the episode, I'm going to treat you to something special that I've never done before. You see, I have a crystal ball. And my crystal ball, it's not like normal crystal ball, like when you in the movies, when you just look into it and there's the future. My crystal ball is like that crystal ball, 3 IPAs deep at the bar, okay? It's like things are still making sense. By all means, this person is still with us on this plane of existence, but it can get a little hazy sometimes. Not going to surprise you if they take a bite of a chicken wing and tell you a story and you don't get anything out of it, okay? So there's sort of a simile or a metaphor to what my crystal ball is like compared to a real crystal ball, but we're going to look into my crystal ball later on in the episode, and we're going to tell you some things that definitely will happen in 2026, some things that might happen in 2026, and some things that will definitely not happen in 2026. And I'm very excited about that too. So stay tuned at the end of the episode to get a little bit of Marcus's hazy crystal ball action in your life. Don't forget to head over to our website, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. It's always blown me away, and I'll say this, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This ain't the first or the last time. One of the things about this podcast that surprises me, and it's only one thing that surprises me. There's a lot that I've been pleasantly surprised by. But we did like all podcasts do with this podcast. We said we need to be everywhere. That means every distribution platform, every place that we can put this where people might look for it, we want it to be. Also, we would like to have a website just in case some of the stragglers want to run back and check out the website and just listen to it there. Well, you proved us completely stupid. Actually, it was smart. Let's get it out on every platform. That is always a smart choice. You can't go wrong doing that. What you proved to me is that the drivers absolutely love the website that Tyler put together. And I know why. I mean, it's a sweet website. Head on over there right now, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. You can see all of the episodes that we've ever done. You can group them into playlists of similar episodes, or you can just start at the very beginning and work your way through the entire roster. There are 110 of them as of today, so you've got your work cut out for you. But the website also has all the information about every episode, the full description, who we're talking to, what we're talking about, and there's also some metrics up there. You guys can pit yourselves against one another, see who's running the hardest. That's always fun. You could get yourself a sweet Liquid Trucking t-shirt up there. There's a merch page. And anytime that we have a photo gallery or anything like that that we're putting together that's kind of based on the episode or something that comes out of the episode, that's where we will be putting it up. So check out podcast.liquidtrucking.com like the other 80% of listeners to this podcast. You guys deserve a round of applause for that. 80% of you staying right on the company line and saying, you know what, I'm not going to patronize Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube Music because that is confusing. I'm going to my company's website, liquidtrucking.com, and I'm clicking on podcast. It's that simple. Everybody's doing it. All the cool kids are doing it. When 80% of people do it, I do it too, just because I don't want to be part of the 20% crew. So podcast.liquidtrucking.com is the website. We'd love to see you over there ASAP. And as always, the email inbox is open. It's very similar to the website, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. That's where you can hit me right in the pocket. Send me your suggestions. Send me any feedback that you have. You know, I'd like to hear, send me some emails right now. I want you guys to do this for me. Do a little homework for me. Everybody that feels so inclined, write me an email and tell me 2 things you like about the show and 2 things you'd change about the show. I'd love to hear it, especially if the 2 things that you would hear or change about the show are things like Marcus needs to go away and please make Marcus shut up. Those are things we can actually work with. I'm not saying I'm going anywhere. I don't know what the future holds here. What I am saying is that's good feedback. Maybe I get to be a little too much from time to time. Who knows? Don't ask my wife that question. She'll have an answer for you. And I'm going to leave it at that. But I would love to see your feedback in the email. 2 things you like, 2 things you would change. Hit me up right now, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. And of course, if you've got episode suggestions or topic suggestions, you can send them there as well. All right, I want to save enough time for the things that we've got going here in today's episode. And next up, joining me right here on the show is VP of Safety and HR, Jason Eisenman. So let's get to it.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
All right, welcome back in here to the Liquid Trucking Podcast. Very excited to have our next guest on. He's an honorary co-host here on this show for sure. He is VP of HR and Safety at Liquid Trucking. Jason Eisenman joining us today. Jason, very happy to have you here as always. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir. Glad to be back.
Now, today is an important day for us, Jason, because, you know, each year on this podcast, as the year wraps up, we always spend a significant amount of time talking about the year that was, especially with our New Year's Eve special this year. We talked a lot about drivers accomplishing goals in 2025. We talked about goals that they didn't accomplish in 2025, all the things that happened last year. And that's great. Glad that we spent the time on it. We don't have any time for that today. This episode, we're talking about looking forward into the future, and we've got a lot of good stuff here for you. Now, before we get to anything else, I want to do what's called a tease here in the broadcasting industry. We have a huge announcement in this segment that Jason's going to be making, and we're going to give that to you right at the end of the segment. So we're going to make you hang on, but trust me, it affects the company at large, and it's really exciting news. So stick around for it as we talk about looking forward into 2026. And Jason, I'm going to start right where everybody's mind goes when we talk about a new year in the transportation industry. That's the freight market. Talk to me about what you're seeing out there. How's the outlook for 26 on the freight market where liquid trucking's concerned?
Yeah, that's a big glass ball, right? Or a crystal ball that no one can ever seem to nail down in our industry. But what we do know is the last 2 quarters of 25 have improved, and going into 26, we also are pretty confident we're seeing moderate continued improvement, and that gives us light, right? We're talking with more customers, we're having more opportunities to bid on freight. We see more freight moving, and we're working really hard at making good relationships and partnerships with freight partners, whether that be with brokerages or direct with shippers and producers. But the whole topic is definitely volatile, and we're optimistic that 26 looks like a great year.
When we talk about that new opportunities for winning new business, are there any opportunities out there that have come to fruition recently that you guys are really excited about that we can talk about here? I know sometimes before ink dries and everything like that, it's a little bit shaky to talk about. But anything that's already on the books that you guys are really excited about winning here recently?
Yeah, without naming, any of our customers' names, we've got some really good local work that starts up. And if you're a local driver at the company, that's going to really affect you, and it'll affect even our regional guys because that's going to pull local drivers off of regional work and open up more. So any freight, any new freight, really spreads out in ways that most people don't realize, and that's a lot of freight with this. We have some long work as well that has developed, some from the Southeast to the Pacific Northwest, more Montanish, but, and then lots of RFPs at year end, of course. We did get some nice business back. We had a really sizable customer that we service in Iowa that we lost for the last half of 25, and that comes back as they saw that our efforts were missed. Maybe our price was a little high at the time, but now we're back in line with price and service, and that's also going to pick back up and Iowa is a big market for where our employees and drivers live, and our customer base. So that's we're pretty darn excited, to be honest, and I'm excited for the drivers. I see the dispatch email and the sales email, and they're feverishly working all the time to work with the right people, long-term business. We still have to pick up the spot freight, the backhauls, keep the trucks moving, be profitable, but we're always looking for the long-term commitments and the good customer partners that have, maybe not just a month, but a year and years ahead of stuff that we can serve for them.
Absolutely. In this job, I talk to so many drivers off the microphone, and people might not realize how much time I actually spend communicating with drivers when we're not recording it. And I use those interactions to sort of take a pressure check. And one thing that I can tell you is when I'm calling drivers and they're on home time and I'm catching a lot of them on home time, it normally means that they're not getting the miles that they want. And while, there's been spots of that in the past couple of years because the freight market is what the freight market is, recently here towards the end of the year, when I've been calling drivers, they haven't quite known what their schedules are going to be. And that means that it's because they've got stuff moving. You guys are constantly putting new things on the schedule, constantly, optimizing routes. So I would say from a fly on the wall perspective, which I give, there's a little bit of reason to be excited out there, not only because we're winning new customers and winning back old customers, but as you said, Jason, a couple quarters now of upturn in the market always means at least a few high fives are running through the office there. And I'm glad to hear it. We're going to talk a little bit about getting back to basics towards the end of the segment here. And I want you guys to just save that spot in your head there where Jason talked about winning back a customer that we lost in the back half of 2025, because I think it's going to mix in a little bit when we talk about getting back to basics here in just a few. If you were a gambling man, Jason, and I ask this question very generally here, but if you're a gambling man and you're going to bet, you and I are talking at this time in 2027, are you looking at another up year in the freight market, or are you looking at a down year overall? What's your $10 bet that I'm definitely not going to I'm definitely not going to pay up on, but what would it be?
I'm betting up. I'm in the bullish side, and I'll tell you why. Any business has to grow year over year. If you're not growing, you're dying, and so it takes. We're not out here trying to grow by doubling the company every year by any means. The Schmidt family have a moderate, smart growth model in terms of 10 to 15% every year is the goal. And even in these tough freight years, no one sits on the sideline just watching. Everybody in dispatch and sales and all the drivers, everyone's doing all they can to earn more, learn more, talk with more people, and get that growth no matter what it takes. And I see that 2026 is going to be that.
I like it. I like it. I'm joining you there because you, my friend, are one of the absolute best resources and best minds I know when it comes to the transportation industry. So my money's on a growth year with you right there. I'm slapping a dirty $10 bill down on it. Thanks for that. Now, back in September, we actually checked in with the guy that we love to get on this podcast, but he's been very busy, so we get very few opportunities to talk to him. That's Chris Baltushis out at the Bartow terminal. Chris was able to give us a quick 15-minute snapshot of the transload facility progress out in Bartow, and we want to spend some time talking about that just from kind of a zoomed-out standpoint here, Jason. Talk to me a little bit about the transload facility expansion and how things are going out there at the Bartow terminal.
Yeah, big props to Chris and the whole transload, the Siouxland transload team that's up there and continues to grow, and all the Bartow terminal members, from the truck shop to the drivers to dispatch. They are all growing collectively with it, right? Because the more we're transloading, that's more freight getting onto the trucks for the drivers and for the dispatch. And huge pat on the back to Chris and the Schmidt family for taking the risk and putting in all the work and the effort to build and invest in another mode of transportation that adds value to the business and serves our customers better, right? Because our customers are looking for more of a one-stop shop. So not being just a trucking company allows our customers to partner with us, and get more without having to go and find a transloading facility and then find a carrier. Chris has done a phenomenal job. He had a history in transloading. He had worked in it before and had been on the radar for a long time. In fact, the company had purchased some land years ago in the Sioux City area to start a transloading facility. And then when they bought that land, they found out there was a really big easement that went through the land that would prevent the right kind of growth. It wouldn't allow them to build and grow on that land as they thought. So they ended up having to sell that land and wait for another opportunity. And I think it's all worked out for the best, because this opportunity allowed this to be right at the Bartow terminal. It's, everything is closer, and they say everything happens for a reason in life. And that's really played out true here. So the growth up there has been phenomenal. The work that everyone's put in, and transloading is a long game play, because those rail contracts are, they're not short. So the work that Chris and the team are putting in today, talking with people, from a sales perspective and getting, folks aware of the business and what we offer and how we could, better improve their freight market. It's not an easy decision, on the rail side. They might have 2 years left on a contract with their current provider, or dynamics like that. So, um, wildly, um, amazed at what has happened, so far, and the response that we've gotten from the customers that are working with us and that I know that we're here. And I think that it's continue to grow and expand, in 26 and the years to come.
You said everything happens for a reason, and I thought that was very apropos because when you talk about the facility being right there at the Bartow terminal, if you haven't been out there, and I was fortunate enough my very first trip out to go out and visit, and things were just sort of kind of getting off the ground, but we were showed, hey, that's where it's gonna be, and you're not kidding, man. You could open a window at that Bartow terminal office and throw a rock and hit the transloading facility. It's right there. And I think that's really cool that it worked out that way because, as we said, Chris, Angie, Corey, the whole team out there at Bartow has been really sweating on this, and being able to work on it and have it be right there in close proximity is something I'm sure helped the process along because it's been a lot of work for them.
Yep. And, no, I don't want to speculate or take any words out of, the team's mouth, but there's, buildings that have, plans to be removed, demolished, uh, track expansion, to bring in more cars, additional transloading racks to accommodate more customers. I've seen a variety of drawings and thoughts, from everybody that's involved, and I think that, everything that has happened so far is just so awesome. I can't wait to see what continues to happen up there, and what customer, joins the LT family next.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be really cool when we have this conversation again in 2027 and talk about all of the changes that have happened in the year 26. So very exciting stuff there when we talk about the transloading facility and the expansion that's happening as we speak. Stay tuned to the Liquid Trucking Podcast. We'll bring you all the updates that we can there. I want to talk a little bit now moving forward, Jason, about some of the testing of APUs that Liquid does. This is something that we've touched on the program many times. We've talked to drivers that have kind of guinea pigged and piloted certain technology for Liquid's trucks. What do we got in the APU world right now that that you can talk about at this point in time here on the show?
Yeah, so on the truck side, going back a decade plus, the company did use APUs on the trucks at one point. We're not currently using APUs on the trucks, and we use, the opt idle, and so looking forward, Gabe Schmidt, who heads up the, whole equipment side of the company and a co-owner, one of his goals and initiatives for the truck shop and all the drivers is to test and research APUs for the tractors, for a couple of reasons. Primarily, driver comfort. We've heard feedback on the way that the trucks are set up today, and so, secondarily, maintenance costs. The APUs a decade plus ago were, money pits, for lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would get a lot of, feedback on driver satisfaction at the time because, hey, it didn't work, and I'd have to get out of my truck and get in a spare just for this APU to get service. So we're hopeful that the research and testing done by the whole truck shop team and, led by Gabe, will bring us to a product that is more modern and will fit the fleet and our people better, and maybe we'll see a transition back to APUs. And I caveat that with a maybe. This kind of a peel back the curtain inside look. It's something that's, on the drawing table and actively talking to vendors and installing some APUs to test them out. So more to come on that, maybe mid-year, as it's not a quick process, but hopeful that there's some good news and a great product, and a needed improvement in the future news.
That's great news, and I love to hear that Liquid's always kind of trying to move forward with the technology wave and find the best. You could call them creature comforts for the drivers here, but really this is something that's important. Keeping the drivers comfortable is all part of keeping them safe out there on the road. And there's one guy you mentioned there in Gabe Schmidt that is somebody we would love to have on this podcast more often than what we do get to talk to him. But I think it goes to show just how hard he's working at trying to find the best technology and the best comforts for the drivers out there on the road. He's always busy doing that. He's always looking into new things. He's always optimizing the fleet in one way or another. And just want to give hats off to Gabe and his whole team here. They're kind of unsung heroes on this podcast. We don't get to talk to them a lot. Shop guys are the same way. And that goes both truck and trailer and includes the tank wash. So we know there's a lot that goes into keeping these trucks not only up and running safely, but keeping the drivers as comfortable as possible so they can be as safe as possible. And just a hats off to Gabe and the crew for that. It sounds like they've got quite a few irons in the fire right now, Jason.
Yep, and more new trucks, getting delivered. 20 new trucks purchased this year, which just keeps updating the fleet. And yeah, even in the bad, bad years where freight's not as plentiful and top line revenue isn't as where you'd hope to see it. They're continuing to invest in new equipment and looking for the future and planning for the up years.
And don't forget, just want to tell you this one more time. We do have a very big announcement coming that will affect the whole fleet for sure. So stay tuned for that. We got a couple more things here on the bullet list, though, that I want to get to before we get to our exciting announcement. Just know that Jason and I are both jumping from foot to foot because we want to talk about it, but we've got priorities here. So let's talk about Liquid getting back to basics. Jason, you told an anecdote at the beginning of the interview here where Liquid Trucking had lost a customer for the back half of 25, but won that customer back here for 26 and hopefully beyond. When we talk about getting back to basics and the things that really flow through Liquid Trucking as sort of the culture and the way that Liquid treats its customers, how do you sort of marry those two things up? You lost the customer, you got them back. We're here now talking about 2026 and moving forward and getting back to basics. Is there any relation between those two things, Jason?
Yeah, 100%. And it's bigger than that. It's really big. It's a big topic because as a business, of what Liquid Trucking is we're selling a service, right? We're serving customers, providing a service, and to do that, it takes a lot. It takes really good people, and you got to serve your people well that work for you. And so, getting back to basics means, hey, in the years where you know freight isn't just pouring down the river on the mountain, uh, you got to take a look at inside the house. Like, what do we do well? How can we, serve our people and our customers well? And topics include like, fiscal responsibilities. Let's look at how we're spending and saving our money, or from a safety perspective. What are we doing? From a safety perspective, are we doing all the little things that matter? Are we analyzing our on-time deliveries, our loaded percentage in the tanks? Uh, all the details, all the small details that can be easily overlooked in the hustle bustle of the day. But if you get back to basics and think about all the things that got the business to where it is today, and you take that opportunity to work on those things, it just continues to kind of reset the business to be better going forward for all these opportunities that we were talking about in terms of growing and expansion. And that's what I meant by getting back to basics, just remembering the core principles that are most important to making sure we serve everybody as best as we can.
Well, it's something that has kind of been, often addressed at different times here on the show, and that is the customer service aspect. We talk to a lot of drivers, so that's something that comes up. And also, we've been fortunate enough to talk to some customers of Liquid here on this show, and that's the snapshot that I get, is that the customers really do value the service that comes from Liquid Trucking, and from the driver's standpoint, I see you guys put a big emphasis on it. So, not that this and 50 cents would buy you a cup of coffee, but if you want the advice of the podcast host, I would tell some of these customers, hey, look into Liquid Trucking if you want that top-notch service that's going to keep you coming back, even if you left to try the waters elsewhere. As an Oregon Duck fan, Jason, I'll bring in a football analogy here. Quote from my guy Dan Lanning, coach of the Oregon Ducks, when he turned down the job opportunity to go to Alabama and coach football. He said one thing. He said, everybody thinks the grass is greener on the other side, but the grass is damn green here in Eugene. And I like to think about that for Liquid Trucking. The grass is damn green here at Liquid Trucking. And the service that you guys provide is evidence of that, as are the happy and often returning customers, if I can't say so myself.
I do agree. And, just take a pause right there. And everybody that's listening to this topic and conversation today is, that's a tribute to each of us. If you're listening, that's you. If you're not listening, it's still you. If you're working here and you're putting in the effort, whatever your role is, right? It takes all of us. I always have this motto: you're never gonna win a baseball game if you don't put the right people on the field at all the right positions. And same thing here at Liquid Trucking, and really any business. You got to have really good people out on the field, playing the right positions, believing in what they do, and we've done that, and everybody does that every day when they show up. And that's why we are where we're at today. And so, just a moment of gratitude there for everyone. And that's what, back to basics is. Just remember, play your position well, and we're going to be really good going forward.
Very well said there, Jason. You're never going to be short on sports references when you got the two of us in the room together. We've covered baseball and football today, so I think we're par for the course right now. But it's finally time. I've been teasing you guys for this entire segment, and yes, we're going to do it. We're going to make the big announcement. I thought I had a drum roll queued up here, but I don't. So, Jason, go ahead and take it away. What's our big announcement for Liquid Trucking as we look at our company health and goals moving forward into 2026?
Yeah, thanks for everybody that stuck around to listen, and thanks for doing such a great job at teeing it up, Marcus. There's another sports reference for you.
That's three.
Anyway, we were talking earlier in the segment about, as a company, growth comes through serving your customers. And one of the things that's big in trucking and all logistics is brokerages. And Liquid Trucking historically has never had a brokerage arm or division. And the way that the company and ownership, like the Schmidt family, looked at a brokerage was, do you start one or do you acquire one? And there's challenges that come with both, right? Building a business takes time, comes with a knowledge set that maybe, you have to develop, just like they did when they started Liquid Trucking 35 years ago. So after a lot of careful consideration, the company has acquired a 50% partnership with a large, well-established brokerage, with the intentions of finishing the full acquisition over the next 3 to 5 years. And that's the big news. So that's why is that exciting? It's exciting because the company, as we talked about earlier, wants to continue to grow, provide that one-stop shop opportunity for our customers. Now having the trucking and the transload and the tank wash and the brokerage arm now. It adds several team members, essentially as daily salesmen. And while we aren't going to announce the company name today, that will come in the future. Liquid Trucking is, honored and excited to be good stewards with the current owners that have built this business over the last 20 years. It's a very well-established, prominent brokerage, and we couldn't be more honored and excited to add it to the list of things to bring to our customers and, continue to provide that freight opportunity for our drivers on the road.
Well, I don't have a drum roll queued up for the big announcement beforehand, but I do have an applause for afterwards. Big news, very exciting stuff. And, part of not being able to maybe name the company right here and now is that this is the effect of having a podcast host that just won't leave guys like Jason alone about news like this and just wants it on the show so bad that I want it as soon as possible. And I think it's awesome that we ventured into the brokerage side of things here and just all the cool opportunities and exciting opportunities for growth that opens up into the future. What a great way to end this segment, Jason. I couldn't be happier with all the things we've talked about here, and I think it's just a little bit of a predictor of how things are at Liquid right now. Company's looking good, freight market, we got our fingers crossed. So
I couldn't agree more. Again, as a employee of the company and working for the Schmidt family, extra kudos to them again for the investment into all of us and the future and continuing to add things that are going to make all of our jobs more value added going forward. And these exciting times that, they come along every so often, it's not maybe a decade at a time. You might be a part of this. So all the drivers out there on the road, hopefully this is a moment for you guys to also be part of this kind of landmark time to bolt on something to the company that we've never had before.
Well said there, Jason. That's your VP of HR and Safety, Jason Eisenman, joining us today to talk goals moving forward and just the outlook on 2026. It was a fantastic conversation, Jason. Greatly appreciate your time here with us today. And here's to a fantastic and successful 2026, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
Great stuff there from Jason, talking about looking forward into the future for Liquid Trucking. Always something important to be doing while you're running a business, right? I would love it if we could all just sit here and be happy with the way that things are. That's much more conducive to my personality. I don't like change, okay? But change is important. Change keeps us moving forward. Change helps us adapt and build a business around the way that things are. Like, we can't control the world. We just got to live in it. So I thought it was very insightful from Jason to come on and talk a little bit about getting back to basics too. I thought that was a really cool part of the entire bit there, because a company like Liquid Trucking doesn't do it so well for so long if getting back to the basics is something they're not good at. And just thinking about it, just keeping it in your mind there every now and then when it comes time to kind of, hey, let's brass tacks this thing. Let's take a long, deep look in the mirror and make sure we are still embodying the values that got us here today, right? It's a lot like if you went to the gym every single day and you're one of those people that wants to track your progress, so you take a picture every single day. You're not going to notice the change when you take the picture every single day. It's when you go back 3 months and you look at the first picture and then you line them up and you look at every single picture. That's kind of getting back to basics, right? That's understanding that this is not something that happens with the snap of a finger or the click of a pen. It's something that takes time. It takes effort. It takes dedication. And I just thought it was a really cool thing for Jason to bring up there. So appreciate Jason's time. As always, honorary co-host on this show, comes up with a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about here. And before I get to our next segment, I would like to say, because I forgot to say this already to this point in the show, Congratulations to Liquid driver Jason Krayenhagen. He suggested that episode going way back till like the summer, I think, is when he first put that bug in my ear. And we've been working on it, but really it felt like a weird time to do it in the summer. We got super busy with all the stuff going on in the fall, and it was like, hey, this is a perfect thing to put this at the start of the year and kind of look forward as we enter 2026. So Jason Krayenhagen, thank you so much for the suggestion. Enjoy your Drive for Gold points. And don't forget, drivers, if you send me a suggestion and we turn it into an episode, it might take 6 months, it might take a year, but if we use your suggestion, you can bet your top dollar or your bottom one, I don't care, I will be getting you those points. So again, big ups to Jason Krayenhagen. Great idea for an episode here. Had a lot of fun with it. About to have even more fun right now because I thought, well, if Liquid is going to do all this work, Jason's going to sit down and really put pen to paper and figure out all these things so that they're discussable on this podcast. Maybe I should look into my crystal ball and see, what's going to happen in 2026. I thought about it 3 different ways. I looked into my crystal ball, which, by the way, has music. That's it. It's just a little short thing, but that's my crystal ball's theme song. I looked into it for 3 different things. I wanted to find out things that will definitely happen in 2026. And my crystal ball has a sound effect for that. If something will happen in 2026, you're going to hear this. It's pleasant. It's peaceful. It's serene. I like that a lot. I also asked my crystal ball, hey, Crystal. I named her Crystal. Hey, Crystal, what might happen in 2026? And if we talk about something that might happen in 2026, you're going to hear this. It's cowbells. It's perfect because it might happen. Cowbells are cool sometimes. Other times you don't need more cowbell. I'm a drummer. I can tell you this. You can have too much cowbell. Your lead singer will throw things at you. So cowbells, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Something might happen in 2026. Again, you'll hear the cowbells. And finally, I asked Crystal, I said, Crystal, what won't happen in 2026? And this is the sound that Crystal made. I might just ring that one because it's fun. So let's get into it. Let's see what Crystal had to say. Here are some things that definitely will happen in 2026. Minnesota will see an unprecedented number of closures of child daycare centers, like a crazy amount. Now, on a lighter note, the state is also expecting record voter turnout. Some will be arriving by bus, these voters, and others by Bugatti. The number of DraftKings and sports betting ads we all see will increase at the rate your account balance decreases. It's math. Don't ask me to explain it. It's happening. Something else that will for sure happen in 2026, it doesn't matter what you've seen up to this point in your career as a driver. Sometime in the year 2026, a four-wheeler will actually impress you with sheer stupidity. It's the way of the road. Here's one for you. A Creed tour will get canceled after lead singer Scott Stapp punches a minor in the face. Maybe this one could have gone in the next category, but I'm still feeling really strong about it. And finally, the last thing that will happen in 2026, according to Crystal, my crystal ball, bathroom and shower etiquette in shared spaces will continue to be a mythical language undiscovered by the masses. Now let's turn to Crystal for things that might happen in 2026. There might be enough parking for you, but there probably won't, so Godspeed. Bill and Melinda Gates might give me $100 million, or they might keep hoarding their money like Smaug in the Hobbit movies. I might not be moving mountains over here, but I do my part, and I'd like a little kickback for all these years I've been a loyal Windows drone. It might happen. Streaming services might figure out that if they all bundled themselves together, they could evolve into a revolutionary thing called channels on goddamn cable. Again, it might happen. Someone might write a better theme song for a movie than the Top Gun theme song, but given it's been 39 years and no dice, my money is on the under. Again, it might happen. And finally, things that might happen in 2026, cheese could be the next fad diet. We've worked our way through carb-only and nothing but steak diets. I'm holding out hope for cheese being the next. We could call it the Munster method. Book it. Again, it might happen. And finally, Crystal, what are some things that definitely will not happen in 2026? Directors and producers will not have an original idea and knock it off with the remakes. We'll probably never get another classic movie like Space Truckers. I most certainly will not clean out my email inbox. I'm up to 5 digits of unread messages, and I'm curious to see how many digits I get before I bring down the whole system. Think like Y2K, but for Gmail. AI will not become sentient and topple governments and scald the earth and destroy all of humanity as we know it in favor of an all-digital hellscape that exists not on a physical plane, but a mathematical one where thoughts and ambitions and love are nothing but a series of ones and zeros stretching onward into infinity. I actually think that's going to be at least 2028 before that happens, or maybe late 27. I assuredly will not be reevaluating my thoughts on meatloaf. I recently saw some on a menu at a restaurant here over the holidays, and the man in the booth next to me who ordered this should not be allowed out in public with open-toed shoes. This is my hill, and I'm dying here. 3 of them for it. Meatloaf. And finally, the old lady at the store that looks sweet but has a feisty glare will not be moving her parallel parked shopping cart so you can get by. They really should equip these things with air horns and Bambi bashers. She's been here since 1986, and that bread, my friend, is stale. Thank you to Crystal for telling us some things that definitely might, and definitely will not happen in the year 2026. That took me a long time to put together. You guys have no idea how hard it is to figure out things that will not happen. It's a lot easier to figure out things that definitely will happen. But you got to get introspective, as you heard with the meatloaf thing, if you want to really decide some things that you can guarantee aren't going to happen. On the flip side of that, you can look at a band like Creed's history and understand that if Scott Stapp punches someone, we're just back to like mid-90s, early 2000s Creed days, and everything will feel right again. Thank you, Crystal. That was a lot of fun. I'll tell you the truth. I'm going to keep that because I really like that little guitar thing. I'm keeping that on the button bar, okay? And I'm also keeping this one, just because it makes me happy. That's going to wrap up episode 110 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast. We appreciate the time Jason Eisenman gave us today and look forward to what 2026 holds for all of you. Please remember, I am always welcoming new drivers on this show. If you're working for Liquid, you're listening to this podcast, and you want to be a part of it, all you've got to do is reach out. It's real simple. Send me an email at podcast@liquidtrucking.com, or you can get in touch with one of your dispatchers, your driver managers. Cole and Bo are great at sending me guys. If you are acquainted with any of the drivers you hear on this program, they will all have my personal cell phone number. You can also ask them, and they will put you in touch with me. We're giving out Drive for Gold points, just like Jason Krayenhagen earned this week. If you suggest an episode topic and we turn it into an episode, bang, we're going to hook you up. And that's easy as well. If you got an episode topic you'd like to hear about, send it to me, text it to me, or email it to me. Once again, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. You can get all the information and that email address over at our website, which is very similar, podcast.liquidtrucking.com. Go over there. It's the one-stop shop for everything podcast. We look forward to a new year with you all here at Liquid Trucking. Thank you so much for clicking download and subscribe today. We appreciate all of you out there. Stay safe, drivers, and keep the shiny side up.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Interested in finding out more about what it takes to bring a podcast like the Liquid Trucking Podcast to your fleet? Bulldog provides tailor-made top-to-bottom podcast production services. We'll meet your terminal staff, connect with your drivers, and bring you the content you want your drivers to hear. Type bulldog.works into your browser to connect with us and learn more about what we can do for your fleet. That's bulldog.works for podcasts, tenacious recruiting, and more.